Leith Anderson, together with my new best friend Biv Wadden, in the last hours of the PGA show here in Orlando. And this is a good example of a way you can use video to make a little bit of a bulletin, because I have a story to tell. Since we told each other practically the bottom of our stories, I was getting down to one round that I played with Jeff Mitchell when he was the coach at Stanford. And I couldn't get over how good he was at distances. He knew exactly the yardage, exactly the wind, and he just hit it right stiff every single time, exactly the right distance. And finally asked him, I said, how do you know how fast the wind is? And he says, well, when I was learning, I got my pickup truck and I drove down the road and I stuck my head out the window and looked at the speedometer, and that's how I knew what I learned what it felt like. And then Biv goes, well, where have you been? And so now there is an answer that's a totally space-age answer, and he's going to tell you about it, and this is important.
And Leith, I was highly skeptical of this story, as he knows, and I said, where have you been? There's a very new, exciting app that you can find on your Apple iPhone. It's called the Optimal Club. We're not going to really be able to show you the screenshots. You can go to the Optimal Club website, just do a search on Optimal Club. You can find it. They're not an exhibitor here this year, but it's a really exciting app, and it's bringing together 3 separate technologies that not only will tell you what the distance is between you and the hole, but given the weather conditions and the wind and the distance that you hit your shots, it'll tell you exactly what club to hit. And I want to show you a little bit about this. In fact, I'm going to pull up right now. There's a GPS system that is showing us exactly where we're sitting in this, entirely in this huge convention hall. And this morning, when he was telling me this story, there was the wind was 8 miles an hour, and there are arrows that are moving across the screen.
So the Weather Channel is telling you on your phone right now.
That's right.
Where the wind is coming from.
And this morning at 9 a.m. we had a 3 mile an hour wind. Now here in the afternoon, there's an 8 mile an hour wind quartering right against us like this right now. And what I'm going to do, we're down here in Orlando, Florida at the PGA Merchandise Show. I'm going to take you on a little trip to Chicago. And we're going to have some fun playing golf in Chicago in the middle of the winter, okay? I'm taking us to the 12th hole of a club I play quite often at. It's a 194-yard par 3. And Leith, can you see this on the screen? Mm-hmm. Now, tell our viewers, what's the wind doing?
Coming over my right shoulder. And it's fast. It's 17 miles an hour.
We got a quartering wind behind us, 17 miles an hour.
Pretty strong.
Okay? Yeah. Now, what's unique about this is I have loaded in here all of my launch conditions that I have obtained from Launch Monitor. So my ball velocities, my launch angles, my spin rates, both the total spin rate and the spin axis, through the bag. I have all those numbers through the bag. And because we all know if we hit a ball into the wind, it's not going to go as far as it does downwind. And all those launch parameters determine exactly how far the ball is going to go under any condition, but particular under windy conditions. So what do you see here, Lee?
So now what's happened is
here's my 3-iron, my 4-iron, and my 5-iron, mm-hmm. And you see where the pin is? The pin's how far from the tee?
Pin's 194 and it's back left.
And this green's elevated. How much is it elevated?
12 feet.
It's up in the air 12 feet. Okay. We've got this wind behind us. Now we've got to use this to pick a club. You see that green arc right there? Yep. It's closest to the pin.
Right.
Let's go down and hit that.
That shot.
It's the 4-iron, right?
Right.
Okay. The 4-iron is gonna. Where's it telling you to aim, by the way? How far to the right? How many yards to the right is it telling you to aim?
It says aim 10 yards right.
It says aim 10 yards to the right because we've got a 16 mile an hour wind quartering like this, okay? Now, here's the carry distance on this 4-iron, 191, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hole's
perfect, right?
194, except what's our rollout going to be?
It's going to roll out 20 more yards.
26 more yards, in fact, at 207. let's use this. Watch this. Let's use this. See that little yellow crosshair? Let's put this in the back of the green. Okay, I'm going to say get distance. What's it say? 207, right? If we hit this 4-iron right now, we're going to hit just before the pin. It's going to roll all the way out to the back of the green. We don't want that, right? So let's go back and let's drop down a club and check at the 5-iron. Okay. Now the 5-iron, it's going to carry 179, and it's going to roll out to 191. The hole distance, okay, is 194. Better club selection, except this green's elevated. Are we sure we can really carry the ball 179? We got to check the distance to the front of the green.
So the elevated.
So we're going to take this yellow crosshairs, okay, put it on the front of the green, right where we need our minimum carry. Get distance 177.
Easy.
Well,
Maybe.
is it?
Maybe not.
We're going to carry 179, and we
2
got
yards.
2 yards. So at least you got to tell
Bad swing
yourself.
thought.
Now I've got 2 choices. I make sure I hit a 5-iron on the screws, or I better hit a 4-iron and expect a long putt coming from back of the green.
So I think this is brilliant. Now, I think what everybody needs to understand is the vast distance between clubs that you pick, depending on whether you're into the wind and against the wind. And you have an illustration of that.
I want to tell you a story. This summer, I had the opportunity to caddy for one of the top PGA pros in the Illinois section, in the Illinois Open, and he came to me complaining about his yardages. He was unsure of his yardages. We put him on my launch monitor. I got all of his launch variables, launch metrics through the bag. I put them into this system. I also simulated some wind conditions, 5 miles into my face, 10 miles into my face, 15, and then 5 downwind. And I created a big matrix of his yardages. And on the front 9 of the first round, we got to a par 3 where it was early in the morning, wind was calm. It was 173 yards, and it just so happened that was his carry distance for a 7-iron on the number. He hits it, boom. And what was really neat is 5 holes later, we come to the next par 3 in that 9. We've got a wind had picked up. We've got a 7 or 8 mile an hour wind. The matrix said he was going to carry that 193. And he's looking at me. He goes, before I even brought up the numbers, he's going, 193. He goes, I think it's a 7-iron. He was thinking that, that he couldn't hit a 7-iron that far. And I looked at him. I go, that's your club. It's the number. And he hit it within a yard. And he was just amazed. And from there on through the rest of the tournament, he started trusting this thing. And he really didn't. We had one missed club because he didn't fully trust this on the second shot of the first hole. And there was not a missed club for the rest of the tournament.
So,
now, by the way, I want to point out something. This is not legal, while you're in play, but it is legal to take your data, write it down, get into Excel, print out a big matrix and carry that in your bag. And that's absolutely legal to do. This is one of the best practice and training devices. Getting back to the original story here, we are very poorly calibrated with respect to what's a 5 mile an hour wind, what's a 8 mile an hour wind, what's a 12 mile an hour wind, and secondarily, we're not well calibrated on what those winds do to our ball in terms of distances. And this answers all that.
So here's what you need if you want to do this and really take advantage of it, is we need to do a testing through the bag with a launch monitor, and so you need to get 3 good average numbers for every club and have a pretty good idea that they seem accurate. And then it would be better even if we could go into the detail that Biv did, where he added some extra wind conditions, to really make it much more accurate.
Once you learn how to use this, you'll see all of the potential, creative ways to use it and applications.
So it's a nearly free, what is it, $80 or $90, or what does it cost?
No, it's a good thing you asked. It has been normally priced at $19.95, and if you go into the iTunes store now, there's a special going on. I believe it's on there for like $1.99 right now. So if you're quick,
it's not $199 either. That's
it's $1.99.
$1.99.
And but the price is going to be jumping up to $19. But I tell you what, the value is clearly worth $40 to $50.
Oh,
It's clearly worth it. And the step that we all have to take is we got to find your local friendly club fitter and get this data accumulated through the bag, and you're going to learn a tremendous amount about your distances and the wind and the weather conditions.
Yeah.
And so
I think this really gives an example of when we find something that looks like it really, really could help a player get better faster. Because to understand, and especially for players who are just learning the game, to understand what wind does when it gets in your face and what it does when it gets over your shoulder, a huge difference. And then to get the selection, club selection, it's a fabulous training advice anyway.
So let me remind everybody one more time, the product's Optimal Club. You can go into a search, their website will come up. You can do a search in the iTunes store, the product will come up, and strongly encourage everyone to pop this into your iPhone.
So, impromptu commercial from Golf Lab, and thank you very much for watching.